Well, Brent, some good news and some bad news coming out of the governor's press conference today. The governor announcing 2,000 new cases, but the state's daily COVID positivity rate at 6.4%, which is actually lower than yesterday's positivity rate. And the state also reporting 49 fewer hospitalizations, but unfortunately 46 more deaths. Now, the governor also announcing that the state so far has administered 1,982 vaccines so far to healthcare workers only. Nursing homes have received all of their scheduled Pfizer vaccines, and distribution is expected to begin tomorrow morning. In total, the state received around 31,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine this week, and they expect to receive another round of shipments next week. The governor also taking time to point out Connecticut, like many other nearby states, New York, New Jersey, saw a surge in cases following the Thanksgiving holiday. He is urging residents to not repeat the past with holiday gatherings next week. Take a listen.
There was a surge, not unexpected, and the surge in and around related to Thanksgiving, in and around those informal social gatherings, and we all paid a price for that. Maybe that's leveling out now. We'll see, but let's not let that happen again. You know, we're a week away from Christmas Eve, we're in the middle of Hanukkah. There's an opportunity for a lot of social gatherings. And I just really need you to be careful. One, stay within your household and join your friends and family more broadly outside of your immediate household. Do that virtually. It'll make an enormous difference. That's the lowest risk way you can do it. You know, medium risk is, you know, indoor gatherings. Make sure it's well ventilated spaces. Open the windows, even though it's cold. Wear the mask if you're with folks who aren't, you know, you're not very close to, not a part of your immediate family cohort. And obviously better to be outside.
And the governor pointing out, because we have this vaccine, some people may think we are out of the woods, but he says we are not, especially considering that these vaccines right now are only going to healthcare workers and nursing homes. We're live at the state capitol in Hartford. Nia Maldonado, Fox 61 News.